All right, let's be honest. When it comes to payments tech stacks, the whole build versus buy thing can really make your head spin.
It's true.
And I bet it's especially tough if you're an ISO or a software company, really trying to make a splash in this industry.
Right.
Well, we're diving deep into an NMI article today that tackles this very question. It breaks down all the things you got to consider. And honestly, some of them can be pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Because building a modern payment system, it's not as simple as just throwing together a gateway and saying, we're done. You need onboarding, you need serious CRMs, the whole shebang. I feel like I hear people get stuck on those upfront costs.
Yeah.
Everyone's worried about blowing their budget before they even get started.
Oh, for sure. Building your own system in-house. It could be really expensive right off the bat.
Right.
Let's say you're starting from scratch with a payment gateway. You could be looking at $500,000, maybe even $2 million, just to get the development done.
Wow.
And that's not even counting all those hiccups that pop up along the way, like the article mentions. But here's the thing that a lot of people miss, the long-term costs. That's where it gets really interesting.
So what are we talking about here? What are those hidden costs that people might be forgetting about?
Well, think of it this way. When you build your own system, you're basically becoming the IT department.
Yeah.
You're responsible for maintenance, updates, and making sure your tech can handle all the changes in the payments world. And let me tell you, that world moves fast.
It does.
New technologies, new regulations, security upgrades. It's a lot to keep up with.
So you're not just building it, you're signing up for this never-ending cycle of keeping it running.
It really is like a marathon. And those costs, they add up. The article gave a pretty crazy example. Imagine having to create whole new teams, like a compliance department or a cybersecurity team. Suddenly, your costs aren't just about the code anymore. You're talking salaries, benefits, office space.
It just keeps growing.
Exactly. So that initial price tag, that's really just the beginning. You got to think long term.
So that initial build price, it's kind of like the tip of the iceberg.
That's a great way to put it.
And speaking of moving fast, time is money, right? Especially in payments. Everything's happening so quickly. The article really emphasized that.
It did.
Can companies really afford to wait around for a custom build when their competition is already out there launching new things?
That's the million-dollar question. And it goes back to those hidden time costs we talked about. When you choose to build, you're basically saying, okay, we're going to become experts in all these things. Security protocols, compliance regulations, all the nitty-gritty details of payment processing.
You're taking on a whole new job.
It takes time to learn all that stuff, let alone actually become good at it.
So while you're trying to become a payments guru, your competitors could be out there grabbing market share.
It's tough, but it's the reality. And it's not just about launching first.
Right.
It's about staying ahead of the game because, like we said, payments never stand still.
No.
Your tech needs to be just as quick and adaptable.
So we've talked about what can go wrong if you build your own payment system. But what about buying one? This NMI article brings up modular systems as an option. It's like saying, why build a whole car from scratch when you can just put together the best parts?
That's a good analogy.
Right.
Yeah. Modular systems let you pick and choose pre-built parts and make a system that fits your needs.
Okay.
Like building a dream team of payment processing, each part with its own superpower.
I like it. The payments dream team. So if we're building this team, what are the big things we need to think about when picking partners?
Well, first things first, security.
Of course.
The payments world attracts all sorts of cyber attacks. PCI DSS compliance, that's not a suggestion, it's a must-have.
Right. You can't mess around when it comes to protecting people's financial info.
Exactly. So you need a partner who's just as serious about security as you are. Look for providers who build security into their systems from the ground up, who are always updating their stuff, and ideally who can actually help you reduce your PCI scope.
Okay, now you're talking PCI scope reduction.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for those who might not know what it means?
Sure. PCI scope, it's basically all the systems and processes that handle cardholder data. The bigger your scope, the harder and more expensive it is to stay compliant.
Right.
But if you partner with providers who are already super PCI compliant, you're basically outsourcing some of that responsibility.
So it's like having a security expert on your team, making sure you're always up to date and protected.
Exactly. Another big thing is flexibility. You need a payment system that can grow with your business.
Of course, you don't want to get stuck with something that can't handle your success.
Right. So look for partners who offer a bunch of different solutions that work well together and can scale up when you need them to. Things like white-labeled gateways, onboarding systems you can customize, strong reporting tools, even fancy stuff like fraud detection and tokenization.
So it's about finding partners who can grow with you, not hold you back.
That's the idea. You want to work with people who are invested in your success and can give you the support you need to reach your goals.
Okay, so security and flexibility. Got it. What else should we be looking for in our payments dream team?
Support. A lot of people forget about that, but it's super important. Payments can get complicated, and you're going to need help sometimes.
Especially when you're dealing with integrations, new technologies, or those ever-changing compliance rules.
Right. You want a partner who's proactive and anticipates your needs. Find providers who offer reliable, responsive support, a team that really knows payments inside and out. It's like having a trusted advisor in your corner.
Not just someone reading from a script in a call center.
Exactly. You want someone who'll roll up their sleeves and help you solve problems, not just answer basic questions.
It sounds like building this modular system is about more than just the tech. It's about the people you work with.
It really is a people-centric approach, but technology still matters a lot. Look for providers who are all about customization. Your payment system shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all thing.
Right.
It should match your business, your brand, your needs.
So what kind of customization should businesses be thinking about?
It can be simple stuff like making your payment gateway look like your company's website, or more complex things like integrating with your CRM or accounting software. You might want to set up specific fraud rules or customize the way merchants get onboarded.
So it's about tailoring those modular building blocks to fit the specific needs of your business.
Exactly. You want to create a payment experience that's smooth for your customers and efficient for your team.
We've talked security, flexibility, support, and customization. What's the final piece of the puzzle? What else do we need to think about when choosing partners?
Innovation. Don't forget about that. The payments world never stops changing, so you need a partner who not only keeps up, but is actually pushing things forward.
So we're looking for companies that are ahead of the curve, shaping the future of payments.
Exactly. Find providers who are investing in research and development, who are exploring new technologies like mobile payments, contactless, even blockchain.
So we need to find partners who are as excited about the future of payments as we are.
That's a good way to put it. Partners who share your vision and want to help you stay ahead of the game.
Partners who are in it for the long haul.
Absolutely. The right partner can really make a difference for your business, helping you navigate all the twists and turns of the payments world and achieve your goals.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here talking about build versus buy. We've talked about the hidden costs of building yourself, the importance of finding the right partners, and what to look for in a modular system. But how do we actually use all this information? What are the takeaways for everyone listening?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think the answer, like a lot of things in payments, is it depends.
Of course.
There's no magic formula. The right path really depends on your specific needs and what's most important to you.
So it's not just about following a rule book. It's about having a vision for your business and making sure your choices match that vision.
Exactly. You need to start by asking yourself some tough questions. What are your absolute must-haves in a payment system? What would be nice to have? And what are the things you absolutely will not compromise on? Once you have a good handle on those things, you can start looking at potential partners and solutions through that lens.
So it's like creating a checklist based on your specific business goals and then using that checklist to guide your decisions.
I like that analogy. Does this partner really care about security as much as you do? Do they offer the flexibility and customization you need to grow? Do they have a history of innovation? Are they genuinely invested in your success? Those are the questions you need to be asking.
This NMI article seems to be pushing us to look beyond just the technology itself. It's about finding partners who are on the same page as you, who want to see you succeed in the long run.
Absolutely. The right partners can be so valuable. They can offer guidance, support, expertise, all those things you need when you're navigating the complicated world of payments. They can help you stay ahead of the game and take advantage of new opportunities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway for our listeners who are struggling with this build versus buy decision?
Well, the article asks a really interesting question. What part of your payment system is the most important to your competitive edge?
That's a good one. It makes you think about what makes your business stand out and how your payment system can either help or hurt that.
Right. And once you can answer that question, you'll be in a much better position to decide whether to build, buy, or partner your way to payment success.
That's great advice. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive. We hope you found this discussion helpful, and we encourage you to keep asking those tough questions. The payments world is always changing, and the more you know, the better you'll be able to navigate those changes and reach your goals. Thanks for listening.